we have some bad news for SummerSlam's main event. We went from thinking that we were getting Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, or even Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Both of those matches would have been perfect main events. The Rock and Cody was the best thing about 2024, and a lot of people want to see those guys continue that feud. And on the other hand, Randy and Cody have so much history together, they could have easily given us one of the best feuds of the year. Unfortunately, none of that is happening. The Wrestling Observer newsletter said as of now, Cody Rhodes is set to face Solo Sikoa for the WWE Championship in the main event of SummerSlam. And that is very disappointing. Although I actually enjoy the new bloodline with Solo as the leader, I don't think he's ready for a SummerSlam main event, especially considering the other options we had like The Rock or Randy Orton. It is worth mentioning that Dave Meltzer has usually been wrong recently with a lot of things, but I think he might be right with this one. After the interaction at Clash at the Castle, I think that is going to lead to a 6-man tag team match at Money in the Bank. It's probably going to be the Bloodline versus Cody, Randy, and Kevin Owens. And after that is when WWE will book the SummerSlam main event between Cody and Solo. I totally see this direction. It makes a lot of sense. And I actually think I might know what would happen in this Cody and Solo match at SummerSlam. If I had to take an educated guess, I think Cody will retain. Solo is definitely not winning the title. And at the end of that match, that is when the Bloodline will beat on Cody, only to be saved by a returning Roman Reigns. If that happens, that might not be such a bad main event after all. That moment would be so good. Just imagine seeing Roman Reigns return to put Solo Sikoa in his place while saving his old foe and turning babyface in the process would be huge. If that isn't how it works out, and if it's just Cody beating Solo Sikoa, then honestly that would be whack and kind of disappointing in my opinion. Speaking of Solo Sikoa, the WWE just filed a new trademark for the name Ceasar Sikoa. It's been assumed that this would be a name change for Solo Sikoa. You could say that this might be his version of the Tribal Chief. However, the Wrestling Observer newsletter thinks otherwise. They say it could be for Jacob Fatu. I could see them wanting Jacob Fatu to be Ceasar Sikoa while he co-leads the group with Solo. But with that being said, I hope that's not the case at all. Jacob Fatu is a much better name than Ceasar Sikoa for Jacob. You know what I mean? I'm liking the new bloodline, especially because of Heyman's reactions to everything going on. However, that is just crazy. I'm fine with Solo changing his name, but all I can ask is that Jacob keeps his name because honestly, it's a much better name for him. And going back to the SummerSlam match card, there is another report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter that says this: Logan Paul versus LA Knight is earmarked for SummerSlam as opposed to Money in the Bank. With that being said, this tweet from Wrestle Features goes on to say this: Meltzer previously reported that the match was happening to Clash, which of course never happened. Even though Meltzer has been so goofy recently, making a lot of mistakes, I totally see the WWE building this match for SummerSlam. I'm not entirely sure if it's a good idea though to put LA Knight in a position where he needs to face Logan Paul for the United States Championship in Logan's hometown. Then again, a lot of people hate Logan Paul, and maybe his own hometown will hate him too. I don't really care, to be honest. I just hope that LA Knight wins because that man is overdue, long overdue for a title reign, and Logan has been one of the worst champions ever. I understand that he takes the belt everywhere and he has on his podcast and whatnot. Sure, that's fine, I get it. But defending the title only twice is actually insane work. Roman did that at the end of his reign, but at least he deserved it for all the years of hard work. Logan Paul really hasn't done too much to be doing all this nonsense. Moving on, let's talk about the possibility of Shane McMahon joining AEW. It all started when Jim Ross started to talk about how a partnership between the two could actually work. This is what Jim Ross said.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It could happen. And how he could be utilized as a character on television, that's what I'm talking about, is viable. I mean, you know, he's got great name identity. He's got people who recognize him. So, hell, I don't know. I would say it's a long shot, less than 50-50 that he would re-engage in pro wrestling. But I can't say that it's impossible because it isn't.
No.
And he's a good guy, and he still loves the business. He called while out my last hospital stay. He stayed right on top of it, and he's a sensitive guy. He takes after his mother, and that's a good thing because she's a nice lady. So he's out there. He's out there. So I mean, who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it, as they say. But I don't think it's anything that's that we're unable to do. It can be done. It just depends on what he wants to do. Does he want to get back in the business or no? And time will tell as far as that's concerned. I'm not advocating it happen, yay or nay, but to say that it's impossible,
it's just silly.
It would not be true. It is silly. Anything is possible in this crazy business.
Yes. If we've learned nothing else over the last few years, it's never say never.
That sounds really cool, but the Wrestling Observer newsletter followed up on that story, and they said this regarding the talk of Shane McMahon contacting people in AEW. When checking with a number of people on both sides high up on the food chain, some noted that they never heard anything close to that, and others said that they were being asked all day about it, but heard nothing but what Conrad Thompson said. Tony's comment was, "I've never met him or talked to him in my life." And one person noted that there was a conversation between Shane McMahon and an ex-WWE talent in AEW, and it was described as not a pitch to get in or anything. It's just two people chatting when McMahon said something to the effect of, "Can you imagine if I walked out there on Dynamite?" While I do think Shane McMahon showing up in AEW Dynamite would shock everyone, I doubt it happens. If Shane McMahon does want to come back to wrestling, it's probably going to be for the WWE. That is his home. I can't see him actually joining the competition. If he did, that would actually be good for AEW, honestly. They could use a vet like him. Shane is also a pretty good booker and producer. He was credited for helping with the 2020 Royal Rumble match, and I loved every second of that match. I'm sure he would be a great producer to have around for AEW, as well as an on-screen character, as maybe a GM or even a wrestler for that matter. Even though I doubt it would happen, I kind of do want to see it go down. And the last story of the day is about how AEW decided to not re-sign the Hardy Boys. Matt Hardy recently spoke out about this in his podcast. This is what he said about the situation. "I was talking with those guys, AEW, and we came to 2 or 3 different offers, and nothing was quite what I wanted. I was doing all the negotiating for myself and Jeff. I was trying to set myself up for something new when Jeff's contract ended. I ended up doing against all odds. As time started going on, Jeff started telling me, 'No one has reached out to me. Are you going to reach out to them?' The only time they offered Jeff a deal is when they offered me a deal. Jeff didn't care unless they offered him something that he liked. He was good. He wasn't going to reach out. As Jeff was saying, 'No one has reached out. My deal might be up,' I said, 'I'm enjoying my time in TNA. Jeff isn't looking to resign, and no one has reached out, and Jeff just doesn't feel like he necessarily was wanted there.' It is sad to know that that's how they felt in the end of their careers with AEW. Jeff Hardy feeling like he wasn't really wanted kind of sucks because the man is a legend and did a lot for the business. However, the Hardys are in TNA and they seem to be happy. They also have a working relationship with the WWE, so they could make an appearance on Raw or SmackDown, and I think that would be dope. It's a cool benefit to have with working with TNA. I hope they have a fun time to end their career in professional wrestling. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video.